This is another naughty little sister story, and I had to read this one for you because this is called The Very Old Birthday Party. And in this, she goes to visit a dear old auntie who has a special birthday, and she is 100 years old. And the reason that I wanted to read this one for you was because a few weeks ago, just before Easter, my granny had a special birthday. And she wasn't quite 100, but she was 99 years old. And we didn't get to see her because we couldn't go and see anybody at the minute. Sure, we can't. But we sent her special birthday cards, and we sent a little video message for her. So I'm going to read this story for you. The Very Old Birthday Party. Long ago, when my sister was a naughty little girl, we had a very old great auntie who lived in a big house with lots of other very old ladies and gentlemen, just like my granny. Our mother used to go and visit this old auntie sometimes, and she used to tell us all about her. Then one day our mother said, "How would you like to come with me to visit dear old auntie?" Our mother said, "She is going to have a special birthday party next week, and I think it would be very nice if you little girls could come to it. You see, it is a very special party because old auntie will be 100 years old." 100 years? That is very, very old. You ask some big person to tell you how old that means. Well, I knew how old 100 years was, so I said, "Good gracious, what an old lady." My sister didn't know how old it was then because she was so little, but she said, "Good gracious," too, because I had. She's a very sweet little old lady, our mother told us. Everyone likes her. The lady who looks after all the old ladies and gentlemen says that dear old auntie is the pride of her home. Wasn't that a nice thing for our old auntie to be? The pride of the home. We thought it was anyway, and we were very pleased to think that we were going to visit such a dear old lady on her 100th birthday. Well now, when the birthday came, we were both very excited. We wore our best Sunday dresses and looked very smart girls. Our mother had told us that we might take some money from our money boxes to buy a present for our dear old auntie in the Woolworths shop. You ask your mummy and daddy who remembers the Woolworths shop. Our mothers let us choose our own presents too. I bought our dear old auntie a nice little white handkerchief with blue flowers on the corner. It took me a long time to think what to buy. But my little sister didn't think at all. She knew just what she wanted. She said, "I'm going to buy one of those glassy looking things with the little houses inside that make snow when you shake them." My little sister had been to the Woolworths shop with Mrs. Coco, who was our neighbour, so she knew all about these glassy things. Do you know about them? Sometimes you see them at Christmas time. They're very pretty. I thought it was a silly thing to give such a very old lady, but my naughty little sister said, "It isn't silly. I would like one of those glassy things for my birthday." And she said she wouldn't buy anything else. So our mother took her along to the toy counter and let her pay for one of the glassy things with her own money. So, when we went to visit the birthday old lady, we had some nice presents for her. I had the handkerchief, and my sister had the glassy thing with the snow inside, and my mother had a box of sweeties from my father, and a nice woolen shawl that Mrs. Coco Jones, our neighbour, had kindly knitted from the wool that mother had bought. Wasn't she a lucky old lady? My sister and I had never been to an old people's home before, so we were very quiet and starey when we got there. There were so many older people. Dear old ladies and dear old gentlemen, all with white hair and smiling faces. And they all talked to us and waved to us and shook hands with us in a very friendly way. And we smiled too. My sister smiled and smiled. The lady who looked after the older people was called Miss Simmons, and she was very kind. "We are all very glad to see such young people," she said to my sister. Do you know, I don't think we've ever had anyone quite as young as you before. My sister was very pleased to think that she was the very first young visitor. And she did something that she sometimes did to Mr. and Mrs. Coco Jones. She blew kisses. She was being nice. Our dear old great auntie was sitting by the fire in a big chair, and when Miss Simmons took us over to meet her, she was very pleased to see us. What a very little old wrinkly pretty lady our old auntie was. She had a tiny soft little voice and twinkling little eyes, and she took a great fancy to my naughty little sister at once. She asked her to sit next to her. Wasn't that a nice thing for my sister to be asked to do? There's a picture of her blowing kisses to everybody. There we go. The old auntie was very pleased with her presents. She put the shawl on straight away, and she put my handkerchief into her sleeve straight away too. But when she saw what my sister had brought, she clapped her hands together in a funny old lady way, and she said, "Well, well, well, what a lovely treat. I haven't seen one of those since I was a little girl. I saw one in another little girl's house, and I always wanted one. Now I've got one at last." And the dear old lady shook up the glassy thing and made the snow fall onto the little house. And then she shook it again and made the snow fall again. She did it so many times that we knew how pleased she was. "Just fancy," she said. "I wanted one when I was a little girl like you, and I've got one today on my 100th birthday." Miss Simmons said, "I see you have a box of sweeties too, but I don't think you had better eat them yet. We have a birthday cake with 100 candles for you to cut and a very nice birthday tea. It would be a pity to eat sweeties and spoil your appetite." Now, my sister had heard Mother say that sort of thing to her, but she was surprised to think that people had to say such things to old ladies. And she stared rather hard at her dear old auntie. And what do you think? When kind Mrs. Simmons went off to see about the birthday tea, old auntie opened her box of sweeties and gave one to me and to my sister, and then she ate one herself. And she laughed, and my sister laughed. When Miss Simmons came back and saw what old auntie had done, she shook her finger at her. "You are a very naughty old lady," Miss Simmons said. Then Miss Simmons looked at the 100-years-old lady and my bad little sister, both laughing together, and she said, "Goodness me, you can see your relations. You both look alike." And do you know, when I looked and when Mother looked at the naughty old lady and my naughty little sister, we saw that they did. Now, I've made something. Remember the present that my naughty little sister got for old auntie? It was a snow globe, and I've made one. Now, mine doesn't have a house in it. It has something else. I'm going to give it a little shake. I put a heart in mine. Can you see all the glitter? Let's give it another shake again. There's all the glitter falling down. And a little heart. That's just a little jar with water and some glycerin that I got in Asda. And I didn't really have anything that I could put inside my little jar. I didn't have a house or a little plastic toy, so I just drew a picture and stuck it on the back of the jar, and then closed it really, really tightly. You can maybe super glue it shut. There we go. So did you enjoy that story about my dear old auntie? Because it made me think about my old granny, and also my little girl Emily, whose birthday it is today as well. She's not 99 or 100 See you later.